Welcome to Blacksburg, where the Cassell is rocking, and we are set for basketball as the Duke Blue Devils, who have had many impressive road wins this season in a tough atmosphere against a Virginia Tech team tonight, looking to pull off the upset. Bob Wischusen here with LaFonso Ellis. Wednesday Night Hoops presented by PNC. And Fonz, we are underway, and Jahlil Okafor is on the floor for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, watched him in warm-ups right before the game. He looked very springy. Good sign for the Blue Devils.
And he'll post up inside to start the game. Gets doubled, and Christian Bayer has it go out of bounds off his knee. This is an undersized Virginia Tech team. It's going to be a challenge. It always is for any team against Okafor, but particularly for this group.
Without a doubt, they're going to have to limit the number of paint points that they surrender tonight. I think they're going to have to keep it 27 or under, and they're going to have to knock down some threes. One of the best three-point shooting teams in the ACC.
Shot clock already under 10 for Duke. Quinn Cook tries to turn the corner. Wide open Tyus Jones. Comes up short. The rebound pulled down by Malik Mueller.
And Bob, I really think the Hokies have to get an early push, look for easy opportunities at the rim, and if they don't have it, go to a secondary break. I don't know if they can play for a full 40 minutes against this Duke defense in the half court.
Shot clock under 10 as Devin Wilson resets things for the Hokies. He fades away from the corner and knocks it down.
Not much of a shooter, more of a driver, but he looked pretty confident on that little fade to the baseline.
Traveling called on Justice Winslow.
I love what Virginia Tech is doing right now. They're doing a fabulous job of protecting their paint and forcing Duke to shoot perimeter shots. Justice Winslow didn't quite get his feet under him on that play.
Wilson has his pocket picked by Tyus Jones. And Jones scores. He was patient and waited for Wilson to show him the basketball and eventually took it away from him.
And we talked about points in the paint earlier. Duke gets them in a variety of ways. Not only post ups, but they dribble drive to the rim, offensive rebounds, and they are explosive in transition.
Backdoor
Nice.
cut for Mueller.
Those opportunities, Bob, will be there all night for Virginia Tech because of the overplay of the rings of Duke.
Winslow. That's off the mark. Out of bounds off the Hokies.
It's been interesting to see, Bob, here early. Virginia Tech, all 5 guys boxing out in the painted area, trying to come up with that rebound.
Well, rebounding is about as bad as it could be this season for Virginia Tech. Not only are they dead last in rebounding margin, it gets worse in ACC play overall. They get out-rebounded by 11.5 rebounds per game in the league. That's last by a mile. They've lost the rebounding margin in 13 of 14 ACC games.
Undersized and undermanned. Tallest guy out there in the starting lineup is 6'7", and I think that's generous.
That's Christian Bayer, who, by the way, used to be a walk-on. And from the corner, that triple goes down for Justice Winslow. Winslow, Tyus Jones, Quinn Cook, they have all played magnificently in the second half of the ACC season.
You can argue that they are one of the best, if not the best, 1-2 combination in the country.
Matt Jones called for the foul. That's his first.
And that's what this game's going to have to be like for Virginia Tech here in the half court. Dribble penetration, look for the kick, and re-drive it. And if they do that, they can get some wide open looks against this Duke team.
That drive gets shut down. Here comes Winslow. Off to Jones, gets a return. And the Blue Devils, #1 in the ACC in transition points. They get a bucket there, and they've got a 3-point lead.
But that's why it's so important when you drive against this Duke team. You have to make sure that you have proper spacing, to have proper outlets for the pass. Virginia Tech spacing wasn't very good on that drive.
The backdoor cut turns into another Virginia Tech turnover. Here's Winslow, as Ahmed Hill couldn't find the ball on the baseline. Okafor double team. Gets to the baseline and reverses it home.
He's so patient. Beautiful move to the baseline, but when you know you have help coming from the middle, the one place you cannot allow the post player to go is to the baseline.
Early losses in the tournament 2 out of the last 3 years. So correct me if I'm wrong. They had lost back-to-back games back in January, and they had that road test at Louisville when Louisville was a top 10 team. And it was that game, right, that they went zone, and very effectively they shut down the Cardinals on the road, and they really have never looked back since.
Well, I think that zone also helped them because they only have 8 guys in the rotation.
Shot clock winding down for the Hokies off the timeout. Justin Bibbs with the left hand from the elbow tosses a shot up that's blocked by Winslow.
Yeah, you can't make those one-on-one plays like that against this Duke team. You got to get them on the move. Nice little ball screen and roll. You got to get this Duke team on the move. Dribble, drive, kick, redrive, and then those opportunities will be available to you.
Plumlee gave it back to Virginia Tech. A bullet pass underneath that hit Christian Beyer on the side of the head, which results in an easy 2 at the other end for Quinn Cook. So the sloppiness continues for Tech 5 minutes in. Yep. Already 4 turnovers in the first 5 minutes.
Duke transitions from defense to offense more quickly than many teams in the country. You cannot give them those easy opportunities, but this is where Virginia Tech's going to have to be efficient tonight, and that's from the three-point line.
Adam Smith couldn't hit from the corner. He's 3rd best in the league, averaging 2.9 made threes per game. And they'll need, you'd have to think, a lot more than 2.9 threes from him tonight in order to have a chance against Duke. Grayson Allen on the drive, draws the foul. Another freshman McDonald's All-American will head to the free throw line.
Grayson Allen really came into college very confident in his game, and then he started to play and wasn't playing very well. And sometimes when you don't play well, you obviously lose those minutes, lost his confidence. But recently, he's really starting to play well, has a lot of confidence, got his bounce back, his confidence back, and that bodes really well for Duke as they get ready for the ACC tournament and then obviously on into the NCAA tournament as well.
Allen had 18 in the opener against Presbyterian and had not scored in double figures until Saturday when he had 10 against Clemson. 1 of 2 at the line here.
And if there's another question about this Duke team, is their inability at times to knock down free throws. They have 3 guys in their rotation who shoot 62% or less.
Okafor a brief rest. He's coming back in along with Emil Jefferson. As Plumlee, who just picked up the foul, heads to the bench along with Winslow. And here comes Ahmed Hill back in for Virginia Tech. And he will replace Devin Wilson. Virginia Tech has been sloppy in the early going. A pull-up in the lane, well short for Hill.
But what we're seeing is the full court and half court pressure of Duke is forcing Virginia Tech to play way too quickly. They have to slow themselves down and look and get some easier opportunities. And even when they get wide open shots, just relax and take the shot.
Okafor sets up Grayson Allen for 3. Buzz Williams has Satchel Pierce, the freshman from Barberton, Ohio. 7-footer on the floor. And he walls off Okafor, sets up a corner three for Justin Bibbs. That won't go. Tipped around. It ends up with Hudson. And Jalen Hudson is able to throw it down. And Grayson Allen shaken up on the play. He gets up with a limp. He'll go to the bench. That'll bring Matt Jones back on.
Yeah, I couldn't quite see if he also came down on the foot and maybe rolled an ankle underneath here. Let's take a look. Nothing there. Oh, yeah, that left ankle. Ow.
An instant replay almost of what happened against North Carolina to Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah, and this Duke team is already thin. Only 8 guys in the rotation. They can ill afford to have an injury at this stage of ACC play.
Duke could put together a 13-2 run before the dunk by Jalen Hudson. See if that gives Virginia Tech any momentum. Down by 9. And they give up a wide open look to Quinn Cook. Offensive rebound, Emil Jefferson.
But I'm actually okay with that. You got to pick your poison with this Duke team. You can't give them threes and inside play. And what they're doing right now is taking away the paint from Duke and forcing them to be a perimeter jump shooting team.
Rhythmic fadeaway from Okafor. Justin Bibbs, quick pass to the wing, and knocking down a three is Adam Smith. That's a big shot for the Hokies.
They're going to need 9 more of those tonight if they hope to beat the Blue Devils.
Foul away from the ball. And it looks like that one's going to go against Satchel Pierce, the 7-footer, who's doing his best against Okafor. He's the only player with any significant size for Buzz Williams. So if he gets into foul trouble, as you said, Fonz, it's basically a bunch of 6'5" guys and shorter that he has behind Pierce. And the runner goes for Tyus Jones.
And Bob, that was exactly what we were talking about earlier, and they worked on Virginia Tech that exact same play and how to defend it. Tyus Jones shouldn't be able to turn the corner and get into the painted area.
Pierce was able to muscle his way through Okafor.
Tell you, they could use about 10 points from number 21, Satchel Pierce, tonight.
He only averages 2.8 per game.
You see Virginia Tech do this tonight. They'll go in and out of man and a little 2-3 matchup zone.
Jones comes up short. A chance for a run out for Smith.
I like
goes
the
right
push.
at Cook. Finger roll is good.
Bob, misses and makes need more of those early pushes from Virginia Tech so they're not fighting against that tough half-court defense of Duke all night long.
The long bounce pass to the corner. Jones gets a return. Sets up Cook for 3. In and out. Another offensive rebound for Emil Jefferson. Tyus Jones with a chance. That's good.
That is the perfect time to shoot a 3. All 5 guys below the free throw line. You get a clean look at the rim. Nice kick.
Bibbs from the corner. Yes. And Buzz Williams wants a timeout.
This is the kind of dribble penetration and the push that we've been talking about. Get that thing into the lane, collapse that defense, and now you got a long run to a 3-point shot. We said that this Virginia Hokies team needs to make 10 tonight or more in order to win this game. 2 down already, 8 to go.
If nothing else, for Hokie fans here at the Cassell, they have to feel like their team took that initial punch and they have counterpunched. They're not going away. They're probably a decent number of folks here that thought that the minute Duke took a double-digit lead in the first 5 minutes, it's going to be another one of those. And yet, here's Virginia Tech knocking down a couple threes and fighting their way back and getting the crowd involved again.
Yeah, Buzz Williams told us today the one thing that there's a few things that he likes about this team, but one is their grittiness and second is their toughness, and they've shown that after being down double digits early. Virginia Tech has to continue to make Duke a perimeter jump shooting team and not allow them to knock down threes and get paint points.
Okafor faces up. Goes right at the freshman. Around him, but travel. Satchel Pierce stood his ground, and Okafor turned it over.
I'm Matt Schick. Thank you for watching this encore presentation on ESPNU. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our coverage after this break.
Welcome to Blacksburg, and welcome to the Cassell, where they have been rocking since the start. A sellout tonight for a Virginia Tech team that is 2-12 in the ACC. But you wouldn't know it with how they have gone toe-to-toe with Duke here in the first half. Bob Wischusen alongside LaFonso Ellis. We've got a 2-point game, and Fonz, we've got a Virginia Tech team that already has double figures from Jalen Hudson, a chance to tie or take the lead, in spite of the fact that Jahlil Okafor started on the sprained ankle, worked out earlier today, got treatment before the game. He already has 10 here in the first half. Duke led by as many as 11, but they have not been able to pull away from Virginia Tech.
A couple early turnovers led to some easy baskets for Duke, which allowed Duke to get out to a double-figure lead. But since then, they've settled down and started to attack Duke off the bounce with plays just like that and knocking it down. We said coming into this game, they need to make 10 threes or more. They've made 3 here in the first half. But the difference in this game for Virginia Tech is when they settle down after turning it over early and the ability to attack Duke off the bounce.
Justin Bibbs tied it. Tyus Jones. In and out a couple of times. A chance for Virginia Tech to take the lead. Devin Wilson attacks, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Watch this little ball screen action here at the top. Creates that little gap. Jahlil Okafor is in no man's land over there, so there's no help opening up. But nice little lane to knock that one down. And how about this one, folks? That basketball hit every part of the rim, even underneath, and rimmed out. So things are going really well here early for Virginia Tech. Bob, but that's something that we spoke of earlier as well. When you're playing against Duke, you have to take away something. You have to give them something. What Virginia Tech has done is taken away their paint game and forced Duke to take perimeter jump shots. And that's really been the difference here for Virginia Tech climbing back into the basketball game, along with their patience with the rock.
Their first lead since Devin Wilson made the first basket of the game. His free throw puts the Hokies on top by 1.
Jahlil Okafor needs to get a touch, and against this 1-2-2 zone, you got to get it to that ACC area or throw it inside to your big fella and let him go to work.
Okafor in the post with 9 to shoot. Goes at the freshman Satchel Pierce and scores. 12 in the first half for Okafor.
Don't you love it when they throw it in and make you look good after you say something like that? Way to go, Duke. Dribble penetration has been really good for the Hokies. They should not abandon it.
Wilson does penetrate and scores. You got it going at both ends.
Get lucky every now and then.
Justice Winslow attacks. A little too strong. The back tap ends up with Devin Wilson.
I love the push.
And the finish plus the foul.
Folks, this is the way Virginia Tech needs to play all night. The early push, they are so good off the bounce, especially Devin Wilson. He's explosive in the open floor, the change of direction. He's excited here in the Cassell. How about the poise that Devin Wilson has played with tonight? It's really been impressive.
He's already exceeded his points per game average here in the first half.
Swing that basketball and try to find Okafor underneath or attack the ACC.
When Cook can't hit, long rebound, run down by Okafor. And he's fouled on a shove by Justin Bibbs. Coming up on the Land Rover halftime report, Chris Cotter and Dan Dockich. We'll talk about number 1 and number 2 not having any issues. And how about the double overtime thriller in the Atlantic 10? In case you missed it, that means you just turned us on. It's worth watching. And as soon as we get done with the first half here, Okafor, a little hook move with the elbow. That's what Buzz Williams wanted called. It does not get called, and Okafor has 14.
Well, that's an offensive foul. You can't allow that to take place with anyone because it creates an advantage. Hard to play defense when someone push it off that way.
Stepping on the sideline is Devin Wilson. Mike Krzyzewski calls a timeout with his team down by 2. 25.9 to go in the first half. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
You're watching ESPN's Bracket Builder Week, presented by Dish.
Welcome back to Wednesday Night Hoops, presented by PNC. It's been a good start tonight, the ACC on ESPN. Virginia Tech second to last in the ACC standings, taking on a Duke team that our own Joe Lenardi here on Bracket Builder Week has projected as a 1 seed. And yet look who's on top by 2 with 15 seconds to go in the first half. Bob Wischusen here with LaFonso Ellis. Duke holds for 1. Here's Quinn Cook, 5 seconds to go in the half. Cook's going to have to force one up, gives it up. Matt Jones at the buzzer, in and out. And Virginia Tech has the lead at the break.
Virginia Tech has been terrific at controlling the tempo, turned it over a few times early, but has settled down nicely.
That's the end of the first half. It's a 2-point lead for Virginia Tech over number 4 Duke. Time to head back to the studio. Chris Cotter standing by with Dan Dockich. It's the Land Rover halftime report. Chris?
Thank you, Bob and Fonz. Land Rover halftime report. Dan Dockich is here in studio. What a wild night we've already had in college basketball. Number 1 team in the country in action earlier tonight at Mississippi State. Coach Cal and his team in the snow down there in Mississippi, but it was rain and dunks for Kentucky early.
You know, watch this. You can throw this ball up any way you would like when you have Will Cauley-Stein running with the overhead backhand, don't matter.
So this one was close. It was a 9-point game at the half. It was 8 points in the second half, and then guys like Karl Anthony Towns taking over on the defensive end.
Now, there's 4 guys. Wait a second. Here comes the 5th. Oh. I mean, this NBA team, this is what you see every night out of NBA teams, and Kentucky has an NBA team.
And even a guy like Aaron Harrison is going to throw it down, one-hand alley-oop from his brother.
Right. I mean, that was behind him. That was a spectacular play. Harrison to Harrison.
So Kentucky had a great second half, and they blew out Mississippi State in the second half. Virginia had a great first and second half. They blew out Wake Forest from the start. Anthony Gill inside, putting Virginia up big. Then Gill again on the inside. Look at this move.
Oh, this is pretty sweet. Watch this little pirouette. Backs him down and fades away from about 15. That started under the bucket and ended up when it went through, Gill was at half court.
The efficiency of Virginia offensively, they win 70 to 34, and Wake Forest shot 22% from the floor, so they do it on the offensive end and the defensive end. You talk about number 1 seeds. I mean, the number 1 team in the country, Kentucky wins easily, Virginia wins easily. Duke's struggling right now at Virginia Tech, as you might expect, because Okafor out the last game and a half, roughly, kind of getting back into the lineup. He's playing well, but the team around him struggling a little bit, particularly on the defensive end.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned it. You know, usually this time of year, we have who we think the number 1 seeds are pretty much locked in. I think Gonzaga has to be in consideration. They only have 1 loss. Kentucky, you know, it really doesn't matter. They're going to run the table. They're going to win the national championship. They're going to go undefeated.
They're going to win the national championship.
Yes, it's over.
Oh, why even? Let's go home. Pack it up.
But the real issue is if you're not the number 1 seed, and this is where Wisconsin could have a problem because of geography, they could be sent to Cleveland, and they're the number 2 seed with Kentucky, so you would obviously much rather play at the Final Four that have to play Kentucky, but we have Arizona still involved, right? We have Wisconsin. Wisconsin, even though they lost, they still have Michigan State. They have to go to Minnesota. They have to go to Ohio State. That's
but can they leapfrog these other number ones, at least according to Joe Lenardi, who he has as the number one seeds, Kentucky, Virginia, Gonzaga, and Duke. Even if these teams lose, and some of them, like Virginia, has a pretty tough schedule, at Syracuse, at Louisville, and then the ACC title. If they lose one of those games, is it enough for Wisconsin to leapfrog?
Well, one of the two are going to lose, Virginia or Duke. That's going to happen. I mean, it's automatic.
If Duke loses in the ACC tournament to Virginia, does Wisconsin leapfrog Duke?
I don't know. It depends what happens. North Carolina plays different. We all saw it against Duke, and that's the last game of the year next Saturday.
Right.
So that's going to be tough. So if Duke loses 2 games, let's just say Wisconsin runs the table. I think Wisconsin has to be leapfrogging Duke. I do. And I think the same thing about Virginia. If Virginia loses, Louisville, they have to go to. Syracuse, as you mentioned, they have to go to. And then the Duke or whoever in the ACC tournament, they lose 2. I think if Wisconsin wins, they jump them.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy road for Wisconsin either. No. Michigan State playing good basketball right now, and at Ohio State to finish the year before you even get to postseason play for Wisconsin. So a lot of basketball still to be played. A lot of basketball still to be played here from Blacksburg here in the second half. We had an unbelievable overtime, double overtime finish in the A-10. We're going to show you highlights of that coming up.
This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond. You're watching the Land Rover halftime report.
Rivals in Richmond earlier tonight, Shaka Smart and VCU on the road taking on the Spiders. Under 10 seconds left to play. VCU trailing by 3 off the inbounds play. Travion Graham. What? That's deep.
There's nothing you can do. I mean, he stepped back from at the marker there in front of the coach. Nothing you can do. He had a tough shot.
Now look at Chandre Jones. Speaking of tough shots, final seconds here. Just lets it fly. Once, twice, 3 times. It almost goes in.
You and I both went. It's in. It's in.
What an unbelievable way to finish regulation. Shaka Smart fired up. We go to overtime. 2.8 left. Richmond trailing by 2. What happens here?
Absolute inexcusable. Slipped the screen. Nobody guarding the bucket, meaning there was a screen right there. You see the slip. Klein got the finish. Fine. You slip the screen, you make a good play, but somebody has to be guarding the rim. Nobody was. Cost them.
Double overtime. Richmond now leading by a point. Loose ball, and Kendall Anthony, as quick as you can get, just pulls up here and hits the jumper, putting Richmond up 3.
This is great on-ball defense. Shot fake, stay down, help came. A lot of people thought it was a foul. We did when we first saw it, but you went and saw it in slow motion. No foul, good defense.
Deion Taylor with the block there at the end. So Richmond hangs on in one of the wildest games we've seen this year already. And that means we have a 4-way tie atop the A-10 because Davidson got a big win at Rhode Island. Both of those teams on the bubble. And Dayton, meanwhile, the Flyers, no issues taking on George Mason. Seibert had 24 points for Dayton. Here's some other bubble games of interest there in the Big Ten. What do you make of Illinois at Iowa right now? Iowa with a 1-point lead at the half.
Iowa's the most confounding team in the country. They go to Michigan, win by 1,000. You think they're on a bit of a roll, then they lose 2 straight, including Minnesota at home. I have no idea. I know this. They're very talented. They can beat anybody.
Georgia on the road with a lead over Ole Miss. A lot of people are looking at Georgia maybe as a team that could upset Kentucky. Kentucky comes to Stegman here in, I guess, about a week's time. Look at what Joe Lenardi has in here. Last 4, first 4, and next 4. You saw Tulsa with the win over Tulane. They're in his next 4 out. We've got UCLA and Washington coming up later on tonight here on ESPN2.
Yeah, we do. And what a must-win game for Steve Alford and UCLA. Man, Texas is hanging in there.
Hanging in.
I mean, they have been awful.
Got a great opportunity against Kansas this weekend, Texas does, so we'll keep an eye on that. How about Northern Iowa and Evansville? Ben Jacobson's been fantastic with this Northern Iowa team. Paul Jesperson is going to knock down the 3. They're up 10. Deion Mitchell is going to take it himself. Northern Iowa looking good. Yeah, Northern Iowa was one of those teams, has enough talent, good point guard. You see Mitchell. We all talk about the subtle kid as one of the best mid-major players, well coached, tough group. Got leading right now. Marty Simmons' team for Evansville is 19 wins. That's going to be a good win for Northern Iowa. I'm looking forward to Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern. Northern Iowa and Wichita State. Game day. We'll be broadcasting live from Wichita on Saturday morning. That is going to be fantastic. You don't want to miss that. 2 teams that you might want to have penciled in. Go on a little ways in your bracket here. A couple sleepers.
This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond.
Wrapping Wrapping things up in the Land Rover halftime report. Bill Walton coming up next. Andrew Andrews with the Huskies. Of course, it's UCLA and Washington. Big bubble game for UCLA. They'll tip up at about 11 o'clock on ESPN2. And well, we've got a surprise here in our game. Virginia Tech with the lead. Jalen Hudson with 11 points off the bench. Second half from Blacksburg coming up. This has been the Land Rover halftime report.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dish. Only the Hopper from Dish gives you the power to watch all your live and recorded TV anywhere. And New York Life. You're watching ESPN's Bracket Builder Week, presented by Dish.
Welcome back to Wednesday Night Hoops, presented by PNC. And welcome back to the ACC on ESPN. They sold out the Cassell tonight. Why not? Duke's in town. And number 4, struggling against a Virginia Tech team. It's only got 2 ACC wins so far this season, but shot 70% in the first half. Bob Wischusen alongside LaFonso Ellis. We saw a shooting display, and we also saw a terrific effort by Jahlil Okafor on a night where we weren't sure he was going to play as a game-time decision.
Yeah, Jahlil just being simply Okafor down in the post, showing you just that. No ill effects from that ankle. Watch the spin folk to the other side, and then they were able to find him against that zone. And once he can get it on the bounce, now all of a sudden he's shooting that little fadeaway J, and this is where he's extraordinary. Turning to the middle and back over that left shoulder. But Virginia Tech needed one of their freshmen to step up big, and that was Jalen Hudson coming off the bench with 11 points, continually beating Duke off the bounce. And this is where Virginia Tech was really good. The initial push getting all the way to the rim. If they want to win this game tonight, they have to continue to put the pressure on this Duke defense by pushing it in transition.
Duke led by 11 about 6 minutes into the first half. And then it was a shooting display for Virginia Tech, but they try and open up the second half by continuing, and they do. Ahmed Hill from the corner, the 4th made 3 of the night for Virginia Tech.
And we said, Bob, the three-point line, they need 10 made threes to beat the Duke Blue Devils. They got 4, 6 more to go.
And now they get a turnover. Here comes Adam Smith.
Driving, pretty.
Smith from the corner. Yes!
Duke was unable to contain the dribble drive of Virginia Tech in the first half. We said in the second half they needed to continue to put the pressure on that Duke defense by putting it on the deck and getting to the rim.
Another turnover by Duke, a takeaway for Devin Wilson.
And if there's one Achilles heel that Duke has, other than 3 guys shooting less than 62% from the free throw line, is their inability to contain dribble drive. Virginia Tech has exploited it all night long. Nice back door.
Good hands by Justice Winslow to break up the pass that was intended for an open Ahmed Hill in the corner.
It's going to be interesting to see as we go on here in the second half if Coach Krzyzewski goes to a 2-3 zone, if Virginia Tech continues to beat them off the bounce.
Wouldn't you think that would be the only advantage that Virginia Tech would have, as small as they are?
Without a doubt. They're staying in man right now, Duke. Virginia Tech should continue to drive it, dribble it to the rim, and if they don't have anything there, make the extra kick.
With the shot clock winding down, that's off the mark from Wilson.
He didn't quite get that one in his hands properly. Jahlil Okafor needs to get a touch here.
Winslow muscles it up, and he'll go to the line to shoot one more. Adam Smith called for the foul. Winslow, you could see he knew he had the mismatch, waved away the help, and muscled it up and in.
And Bob, Duke doesn't do this enough. Most nights he's got a mismatch down in the low box. Justice Winslow, when they can't get it in to Okafor, Duke should exploit that a lot more, taking advantage of his size. You can see how poised and patient he is on the back down, and he's unselfish. If a guy comes over and double, he'll make the pass.
Couldn't complete the three-point play.
Nice recovery there by Duke, taking away the dribble penetration.
That jumper's way off the mark.
Ooh, I think that should be Virginia Tech ball.
Off of Virginia Tech.
Wow. Thought that was off Duke.
I think not only the Cassell, but the Virginia Tech sideline agree with you.
Yeah, I thought that ball was off of Jahlil Okafor's hand.
Tyus Jones can't hit from the wing. The putback won't go for Emil Jefferson, but he draws a foul.
Yeah, uncharacteristic poor shooting from the three-point line for Duke. 4 of 13 in the first half, and have come out cold from the three-point line in the second half. But Bob, I said in the first half, when you're playing against a team that's so good in many areas like a Duke, you have to take away something. And what they've done is taken away the paint game of Duke and forced them to take perimeter jump shots, and so far is working in the favor of Virginia Tech.
Ahmed Hill called for his first, and the Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. Two of the top teams in the Valley square off, and they're both top 11 teams. Wichita State at number 11, Northern Iowa at number 10. The game of the year in the Missouri Valley, and then at 5 we head to the Big 12. The Jayhawks have their sights set on another Big 12 regular season title when they host the Longhorns, Northern Iowa, Wichita State, and then Texas, Kansas. That's your Saturday afternoon doubleheader presented by 5 Hour Energy, all part of Bracket Builder Week presented by Dish.
Ron Baker of Wichita State is going to have a great game. Beautiful pass underneath.
Devin Wilson with the setup for Satchel Pierce.
Ron Baker was 0 of 8 in the first half tonight against Indiana State. They're going to need a bigger effort than that against Northern Iowa, who's really good defensively.
Okafor comes up short with the left hand, gets his own miss, goes right back at Pierce.
I love the extra effort there by Jahlil Okafor, but again, for Virginia Tech, that's playing right into the game plan, making them take tough twos and not compromising their defense.
Foul on Emil Jefferson away from the ball.
These are just things you just can't teach. I mean, the ability to put it up there, knowing exactly where it's going, and the quick reaction to get back to the basketball. And when he gets you on that left shoulder, protecting the basketball off that left shoulder, he is hard to guard.
Here's Adam Smith. He has 3 fouls. He's the only player for either team in any kind of foul trouble. Line drive jumper won't go for Pierce. Gets his own miss.
I like the 3 ball from Virginia Tech, but it has to come off dribble penetration or high ball screen.
There's the penetration. Okafor stands his ground and gets called for the foul. Second on Okafor. Free throws for Devin Wilson when we come back to Blacksburg. Evans, Dragic, Lillard, Westbrook. If you're a fan of a double-double machine, this is your game. NBA Countdown tips at 7:30, and then our Friday doubleheader begins with Heat Pelicans at 8, Thunder Blazers at 10:30. That's Friday on ESPN. It is Bracket Builder Week here on ESPN. Joe Lunardi in the studio all week, as he is going to be in and around all of our games, talking about the impact that the games this week will have as we approach Selection Sunday. And this is the bracketology according to Joey Brackets for the ACC. Right now, he's got Virginia and Duke both on the 1 line, but he did say that if Duke were to get upset tonight, not only would they drop off the 1 line, but that would put Villanova up in a 1 seed.
Wow, Villanova quietly having a terrific year in conference, but the tough thing that I have about that is Duke, even if they would lose tonight, they played a much more difficult schedule than Villanova has, both in the non-conference and the conference.
The largest lead for Virginia Tech, up to 7.
Virginia Tech again going in and out of man-to-man, 2-3 zone. They've shown a little 3-2 zone as well. Got to get it to Okafor.
Okafor right under the basket in a mismatch with Ahmed Hill. And Hill had no choice but to foul Okafor. And Okafor that close to a three-point play chance.
Folks, watch as that basketball is up at the top. They're doing a phenomenal job, Duke, of reading where Okafor is. And if Okafor has a little mismatch down low, they're doing a nice job of getting it, and a beautiful job on the interior ceiling by Jahlil Okafor. That kid has massive hands.
Mike Eads waves off that free throw. As Virginia Tech wasn't set, and now they'll get set. As they send Pierce to the opposite side and bring Bibbs to Pierce's spot. And Okafor smoothly knocks it down anyway. He has been in double figures every game he has played this season for Duke. This is his 27th game in double figures. Of course, he missed the win over the weekend against Clemson with the sprained ankle. Second in American freshman scoring to D'Angelo Russell.
Bob, I said earlier that Duke, I was wondering when they would go into that 2-3 zone because of Virginia Tech hurting them off the bounce.
It surrenders threes, though. Another one goes down for Ahmed Hill.
That is 6, 4 more to go for the Hokies.
The answer at the other end for Quinn Cook, who's averaging 23 a game over his last 4.
56% from 3 over the last 2. He's had a terrific year. Now a little 3-2 zone here from Duke. If you can get it in that ACC area, off the pass or off the bounce, then you can skip it to the weak side. That's where you find shots.
Shot clock under 10. Ahmed Hill gives it up. Knifing to the goal and coming up a little too strong was Jalen Hudson. Tyus Jones crosses over. That's no good. Devin Wilson, another rebound.
Got numbers.
Hudson attacks, can't score. It's tipped out, and it ends up with Bibbs. In the corner, it's Hill. Justice Winslow tries to go coast to coast, and that's a pretty move from the freshman Justice Winslow.
And Duke at times, I don't think they push it enough. Their guards, and with Justice Winslow out on the wings, they can be explosive in transition. They've not done that on misses, at least in the second half here tonight, and I think they need to do that more on missed shots.
Hudson from the corner, knocks down the 7th three for Virginia Tech.
Dribble penetration has been the recipe for success tonight for Virginia Tech. Got to go to work here, Emil. You got a mismatch there.
He tried to shovel it underneath to Okafor, who saves it. No, he stepped on the end block. That was a tough pass for Okafor to handle from Emil Jefferson. He probably should have shot it over the smaller player.
Without a doubt, Emil Jefferson totally has that in his repertoire to be able to shoot that little hook shot right over the top. It's tough to make a big-to-big pass when you're that close together with that much heat on the rock. Drive and kick here for the Hokies.
Hudson with the left hand. No. Hold down in traffic by Winslow. Down the lane goes Justice Winslow again.
That was created by the early run from Marshall Plumlee. Created a little alley for Winslow to get down.
Pierce goes at Winslow. Yes.
Satchel Pierce has been phenomenal tonight for the Hokies.
8 points for Pierce. He only averages 3 per game. When Cook old school floater. And Cook's in double figures.
That's so pretty. What a beautiful read to be able to get to the gap on his left hand, on the left side with his left hand. A little floater over the top. That's senior leadership there.
Way outside, short, Adam Smith.
Yeah, I don't like that one. They've been able to get really good three-point shots off the dribble drive.
Quinn Cook the other way, just as far as Adam Smith just missed. NBA range for Quinn Cook, and it's a one-point game.
Long, ill-advised shots lead to long rebounds, and that time led to a long three ball from Quinn Cook.
Bibbs comes up with an air ball. That's gathered by Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones throws it to no man's land. And it's tracked down by Matt Jones. Matt Jones for three. Rattles it home, and Duke's got the lead back.
Two quick shots from Virginia Tech has led to two huge threes for the Blue Devils.
Buzz Williams calls a timeout. A couple of triples by the Blue Devils as number 4 back on top. Bob Wischusen and LaFonso Ellis back at the Cassell, and back-to-back threes by Duke gives the Blue Devils their first lead since there was 2.5 minutes to go in the first half.
Yes, a couple quick shots from Virginia Tech led to some runouts, and you just can't do that against Duke. They either get to the rim in transition, or they were kicking that thing out for threes. And we said at halftime that Duke wouldn't go 4 of 13 from the three-point line in the second half, and they've been terrific here, knocking down the three balls here in the second. Virginia Tech's got to get back to what got them there, being patient, dribble penetration, making that defense move, and then the kick for three.
Each team with 7 made threes. And let's see how the Hokies react after losing the lead now off the Buzz Williams timeout. End up with a three from Smith, and he knocks it down. 8 made threes for Virginia Tech, and they've got the lead back.
It's much better rhythm when you can get dribble penetration, draw an additional defender. Now when you kick that back, the shooter's hands are ready, and it's an easier shot. Adam Smith drilling that one from three.
Adam Smith averages 2.9 made threes in ACC play, so he's right on his average. Tyus Jones on the drive, threw it to no man's land with 12 on the shot clock when we come back for Duke. What impacts, if Duke were to lose, might tonight's game have? Joe Lunardi explains bracketology when we come back. It's Bracket Builder Week here on ESPN. What's on the line for Duke tonight? Joe Lunardi back in the studio to explain.
The Blue Devils are among 3 projected #1 seeds in action tonight, and all are trying to hold serve on the road against inferior opponents. Duke's probably the most vulnerable of the group, and if they can avoid a bad loss heading into the regular season finale at North Carolina, they might wrap up a spot on the top line if they can sweep the Tar Heels for the season. To me, Kentucky and Virginia both a cut above the Blue Devils in terms of overall profile.
Well, that's already been backed up as Okafor scores inside and gives Duke a 1-point lead. Duke right now in a big-time struggle with Virginia Tech. But earlier, LaFonso, Kentucky, and Virginia, they both had no problem cruising to respective wins.
This Virginia Tech team has come out game with hustle plays just like that. But Duke's ability to knock down the three ball has been a difference in the second half.
Cook hits another three. All of a sudden, the Blue Devils start to heat up from behind the arc.
That's now 4 of 5 in the second half after going 4 of 13 in the first. Dribble penetration and the kick has been really good for Virginia Tech.
Bibbs answers. 9 made threes for Virginia Tech, and it's a 1-point game.
One away from the goal tonight, partner. The minimum that they had to make tonight was 10 to get a win against one of the best teams in the country.
Quinn Cook in and out.
Russ Williams will take that shot. He just does not want Duke to dominate them in the paint, especially with Okafor and his ability to dominate at that area.
From the corner, Hudson. There's three-pointer number 10, and it puts Virginia Tech back on top.
And Bob, I hate to be a broken record, but Virginia Tech has been so good off dribble penetration and the kick. Guys are catching that basketball in rhythm, and they've been knocking it down.
Virginia Tech with a 2-3 zone.
Jahlil Okafor have a little mismatch on the backside.
Cook from the corner. Yes! And a quick timeout called by Mike Krzyzewski. Quinn Cook has been about as hot as any guard in America over the last 2 weeks. He's up to 19 tonight. He's scored over 20 in 3 of Duke's last 4 games. And he's the biggest reason why Duke has not only pulled off the comeback, but they're back on top again.
The leadership with his voice and the leadership with his production. Only 5 points in the first half, but has a sense of when he needs to step up his game, and he's been extraordinary here in the second half, getting a nice, timely floater, but this is where he's done his damage all year long. The ability to knock down the long ball, his bench loves it, and when he can get out and get space, there's not a better three-point shooter in the country than Quinn Cook, and he's been consistent all year and in the ACC, and they needed, the Duke Blue Devils needed him to knock down shots tonight in the second half. He's been extraordinary.
He's number 1 in the ACC, averaging 2.7 made threes per game, but he's made 5 tonight. 19 overall for Quinn Cook, and doing nothing to hurt the average he's built up over the last 2 weeks, averaging 23 points per game in Duke's last 4.
Got away with a little push off there.
Broken up, stolen by Winslow.
Pretty.
Okafor off the feet from Tyus Jones.
I'm not sure there's a team in the country that goes from turnover to layup or dunk as quickly as Duke does. Impressive.
No team in the ACC is better points off turnovers and transition points than the Blue Devils.
Woo, nice pass.
A defensive breakdown, and there's Winslow with goaltending on Jalen Hudson. A timeout on the floor. It's a 1-point lead for Duke here at the Cassell.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by PNC, for the achiever in you, and in part by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2015 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award.
Chris Cotter, Dan Dockich in studio. Baylor and Iowa State from Hilton over on ESPNU, and Jameel McKay is going to throw this one down.
Yeah, that was a great play by McKay. He, instead of standing or drifting to the baseline, found an open spot. That was really good.
5-point lead right now for the Bears. Kevon Looney and Bill Walton talking about camping, mountain climbing in Yosemite, maybe Bill's dog Cortez. Your guess is as good as mine. UCLA, Washington coming up here on ESPN2, top of the hour.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. Bob Wischusen alongside LaFonso Ellis. We might give Bill Walton something to talk about if Virginia Tech pulls off an upset against Duke. The Blue Devils have not surrendered 10 made threes or more than 10 made threes in any other game this season. But Virginia Tech, with 7 minutes to go in the game, not only has 10 made threes, but they're shooting 61% overall from the field.
But that's part of their DNA. They lead the league in three-point field goals made, and they've been getting them off dribble penetration tonight, and it's been huge and the key reason why they're in this game.
Okafor is blocked by Hudson. Tracks down his own miss. To the corner it goes, and Hudson climbs for the rebound. What a game for Jalen Hudson. He's got 19 to lead Virginia Tech, and now he draws a foul.
Well, Jalen Hudson is an outstanding freshman. Jahlil Okafor way too low underneath and spinning back, and that's something that Virginia Tech has done. Whenever he spun back tonight, they've sent an additional defender, and good reaction underneath by Jalen Hudson, who's had a huge night for the Hokies.
Foul on John Winslow, his second. Each team with 3 fouls here in the second half, and each team continues to shoot the lights out. Before that last trip, Duke was shooting 64% from the field. Hudson tied up inside.
That was really good offense, recognizing that he had a little mismatch on the inside. I thought he waited a little too long, should have gone up more quickly with that, but Matt Jones with a quick reaction blocking that shot. I don't like those passes. I see more than half of those get picked off. You got to run a little bit better underneath out of bounds offense there. Really precarious.
Hudson crosses over, shot clock down to 7. They'll drive and finish. 21 for Jalen Hudson.
Buzz Williams told me that he's the most talented player on this team. See how low he's catching that basketball? Okafor on the low box there. I'd like to see him catch it higher up the lane to give himself the option to go to the middle or to the baseline.
Satchel Pierce called for his second foul on the floor before Okafor was in his shooting move. So out of bounds underneath for Duke. Malik Mueller comes back in, and how about the hand Jalen Hudson will get here at the Cassell?
Well deserved.
Played his high school basketball at St. Vincent St. Mary's in Akron. Maybe the second most famous alum, because that's LeBron's high school. Jalen Hudson's putting on a LeBron-esque performance tonight here for Virginia Tech.
Indeed. Ooh, Okafor was wide open on that roll. Duke missed it. I like the exploitation of the mismatch here.
Winslow backs his way in. Awkward shot. Okafor rips it away. Lost it on the way up. Tries again. Banks it in. Another timeout called by Mike Krzyzewski.
Tell you, when this Duke team has needed a field goal, it's been their ability to take advantage of their size on the interior to come up with second chance opportunities. That's the 17th second chance point of the game here for Duke, and Jahlil Okafor has the ability to know where the basketball is going off his hands and the quick reaction to get to it, and it certainly helps when you have a shorter front line, as Virginia Tech does. Not a guy over 6'7" in their starting lineup.
Jahlil Okafor went from, with a sprained ankle, game-time decision to scoring 24 points to lead Duke. 10 of the 24 here in the second half, although only 3 rebounds. You talked about the size differential between these two teams, and there's no team in the ACC that has struggled more on the glass this year than Virginia Tech. They are dead last in rebounding margin in all games, but it gets worse in ACC games. They lose the rebounding margin by an average of 11.4 rebounds per game, but tonight they're only 3 rebounds down to Duke. Not too bad.
Well, that's something Mike Krzyzewski told me earlier in the year. If there's one area of Okafor's game that he wanted to see develop, is his instinctive ability to get after rebounds. For a guy his size, he should be double-digit rebounds every single night. Wow.
Foul called as Pierce goes to the deck, tied up with Matt Jones. And it is Matt Jones that gets called for the Duke foul.
Buzz Williams told me that the one area that he wanted to see Satchel Pierce improve in was his toughness, and he's been exactly that. That's a tough one because he's got him all wrapped up there. That could have gone either way.
Satchel Pierce, only a freshman, 7-footer, who along with Ahmed Hill are 2 players that both followed Buzz Williams as Marquette recruits and came to play for Buzz at Virginia Tech.
Tell you what, he hasn't played much lately and didn't even record a minute in their last game, and he's been a key factor in the success of the Hokies tonight. Don't abandon the dribble penetration. It's been really good.
Mueller drives with the left hand. That's his second bucket.
Virginia Tech in man here. You want to continue to protect that paint and force Duke to shoot Jays.
Tyus Jones, no good. Here comes Justin Bibbs. Numbers for Virginia Tech. Mueller from the wing. Yes! It's lonely in blue up there in the student section. Matt Jones rolls it home with the left hand.
And that's something Duke should do more, because they're such a threat to shoot the three-point shot. They get guys closing out so hard against them, Bob, and it opens up the ability to be able to drive to the lane. That was a really good decision.
Attacking and rolling it off the rim was Devin Wilson.
Nice.
Low lobs it into Okafor. Double team. Tied up at a foul call. 3 minutes to go. Can Virginia Tech hold on? If they keep shooting like this, they've got a great chance.
Well, the dribble penetration has led to wonderful opportunities on the perimeter. Their early push. Splash from the corner.
Bob Wischusen and LaFonso Ellis taking a look at our floor leaders for tonight. Brought to you by Lumber Liquidators and Farms. You said Virginia Tech had to have a minimum of 10 made threes to be in this game with Duke. Well, they've done you one better.
They've been outstanding from the three-point line, getting them off dribble penetration, catching Duke on their heels, and they've been drilling threes all night long. Variety of guys drilling them. Adam Smith, 3 of 5. Ahmed Hill, 2 of 3. Justin Bibbs, 2 of 4. Jalen Hudson, 3 of 4.
Winslow shut down by Satchel Pierce. Okafor. A second try by Okafor, and it's good. He's got 26 to lead Duke.
His reaction to the rock when it's on the rim is impressive. Stay with the dribble drive, Virginia Tech. It's been great for you throughout this game.
Quinn Cook read the backdoor cut beautifully. Tyus Jones, too strong. Nice job climbing the ladder by Jalen Hudson to tip it to Devin Wilson.
He's played a high IQ game tonight, number 23 in gray.
It's been a long time since Virginia Tech beat Duke, all the way back to 2011. Duke is 43-8 all time against the Hokies. Shot clock under 10. Wilson uses the screen. Gives it up. Shot clock down to 2. It's loose on the deck. Is it a shot clock violation or a held ball? Either way, Duke gets the ball. But if it's a shot clock violation, then that would mean that Duke would keep the possession arrow. And with 1:41 to go, that could be important.
Let's see what the final call is going to be here.
I think they're going to rule that Duke had possession before the shot clock went off. Here comes Mike Eads over to explain to LaFonso Ellis what the ruling is. All right, so Mike Eads with the explanation.
They said it was an inadvertent whistle. Duke will have possession of the basketball coming this way. So they'll maintain the possession arrow, as you mentioned.
So Duke keeps the arrow. The lob into Okafor. And it hit the rim. And that forced the fumble and the turnover. Here comes Devin Wilson. An offensive foul called on Wilson. Tyus Jones in position. And the freshman took the charge.
Now the question becomes, did he get square in good defensive position? He surely did. That is a terrific call by the official. How about Tyus Jones anticipating where it was going to be, putting his body in perfect position, because you're allowed as a defender to move laterally or move backwards. Tyus Jones did it beautifully, moving laterally to absorb that charge.
Virginia Tech now out of fouls to give. If it comes down to it, though, Duke has 2 more fouls to give. And they've got the arrow with 1:18 to go.
Give it to your horse inside, Jahlil Okafor, and let him make a play. Winslow's got a mismatch here.
He's had that mismatch all night in the post. Can he take advantage? Yes! The Blue Devils are back on top. One more timeout left for Duke as Mike Krzyzewski brings his team over to talk things over. With 1:02 to go, a chance to check in with Chris Cotter.
All right, Bob, bubble watch is pretty much going across all conferences tonight. How about in the ACC? Miami, a part of Joel and Artie's next 4 out, but Sheldon McClellan with the 3 here. And right now, the Canes leading by 13 over Florida State. Meanwhile, just a few minutes away from Washington and UCLA, the Bruins, a part of Joel and Artie's last 4 in, so they need to win tonight to stay in the mix. 15.5 minutes from tipping that one. Bob, Bonds?
All right, Chris, thanks very much. Let's go back to that last bucket a moment ago. The recognition of Justice Winslow, knowing he's got that mismatch in the post.
And folks, this is the growth and the maturity of this Duke team. Trying to find the mismatches on the floor. They know that Justice Winslow is a handful to handle down there. Quick move to the middle. The defender rides up on that left side. A beautiful drop step to the baseline. Justice Winslow can do that more often for Duke, and they should look to get it to him. Beautifully executed by the Blue Devils.
No team has been better away from home this season than Duke. They are 11-2 away from Cameron, including wins at Wisconsin, Virginia, and Louisville. And Buzz Williams calls a quick timeout here with 57.4 to go.
Bob, on this possession, dribble penetration has led to 3s for Virginia Tech. And so Duke on dribble penetration going to have to stay home. You'd rather give up 2 than give up the 3. So look for Duke to stay at home on dribble penetration versus coming off guys who can knock down the 3 ball.
Virginia Tech doesn't need a 3, obviously. Right. There's still plenty of time. This is a multiple possession game. But they have been so good setting up and shooting the 3. You think Buzz Williams right now is drawing up a play to try to get the 3 just because in the normal course of their offense, they've been that good from downtown?
Buzz Williams' mindset is to get paint touches. That's what he's always been about since I've known him going back to my Big East days with Marquette. He's going to look to try to drive that thing, whether it's a straight drive off some movements off a ball screen. He's going to try to touch that painted area. If he's got something there, you can score it. If you don't, kick it. And if there's a wide open 3, Virginia Tech will take it. If you do, stay home. Do not leave 3-point shooters.
Here goes Jalen Hudson. He'll attack, and that's blocked from behind. Emil Jefferson came over to help shut down Jalen Hudson. It stays with the Hokies with plenty of time on the shot clock.
Watch Matt Jones. Matt Jones over in that left corner over there made a wonderful decision to not bite on that dribble penetration, which took away that 3 ball in that left corner.
Rising up and knocking it down is Justin Bibbs. Tied with 49 seconds to go.
That's a play that Virginia Tech did earlier today in shoot-around, executed on that possession beautifully by the Hokies.
Are you surprised that Mike Krzyzewski called Duke's final timeout so quickly?
It's a good timeout, but watch the execution here by Virginia Tech. A beautiful little curl cut coming off a little screen, creating a little alley to get that shot off. But right now, I'm a little surprised that he took it, but what he's doing right now, he wants to make sure that his team gets a good offensive possession and also wants to talk about how they're going to defend. Are they going to be man or are they going to be zone? I'd recommend that they stay man, because if they go zone, now you get dribble penetration in a zone. You always collapse to the basketball, and that'll leave open, wide open 3-point shooters, something that Virginia Tech has been hot tonight from 3.
For Duke, it seems as simple as throw it in to Okafor. Is it that simple?
It is, unless you have Winslow, who can also get you a bucket down in the low post with the mismatch. He'll have a weight and a height advantage on whoever the defender is down there. So look for those two guys. But Mike Krzyzewski, NBA guy, you're going to see some kind of ball screen action coming up here.
Well, flipping it around to Virginia Tech, Buzz Williams has seen, I'm sure, what you've seen. And that is when Justice Winslow has an opportunity. You can see Satchel Pierce. He's 7 foot, 255 pounds. So physically, he can body up on Okafor, but no one else on the floor has the girth of Winslow.
Yeah.
So if you have that mismatch, what's the adjustment for Virginia Tech?
Well, because Jahlil Okafor at this stage of his career is not a 15-foot jump shooter, it can allow Satchel Pierce to be able to clog up the lane to take away any of those easy opportunities, but they have to sink down quickly because Okafor will go to the offensive glass. There's that ball screen we were talking about.
Okafor fighting for position. Tyus Jones can't get it to him. Now he does. He reposts. 10 to shoot. Okafor bangs his way inside, and Pierce gets the block. But a foul's called.
Wow.
The foul on Pierce.
And this is one of those funny ones that I talked about with John Adams early in the year. The second bump there should be an offensive foul there, and they've not called, the officials haven't called that one all year long. And I'm surprised that they would call that last one there.
Okafor only 55% at the line. This is the first. Still 2 timeouts left for Virginia Tech. It's a tough student section to shoot free throws towards. He missed them both. O'Neal, a foul called underneath. Matt Jones got in and got the loose ball, but a foul is called. And it's against Duke.
Yeah, I was a little shielded, so I couldn't quite see.
It looks like they may have called Winslow for a hook on Satchel Pierce.
It had to be because Matt Jones got a clean look and a clean rebound on the basketball.
The foul is on Winslow.
Good eyes, partner.
It's the 3rd foul on Winslow. And he's the first player for Duke with 3 fouls. So if this game goes to overtime, really not significant foul trouble for either team. And they are over at the monitor just double checking to make sure that the clock is correct. And it looks like they have settled on 20.4 seconds being correct. Now Virginia Tech has 2 timeouts. And it seemed as if what Buzz Williams wanted his team to do off a missed free throw had there not been a whistle is to race the ball in the front court and call timeout. You think they still do that even after that stoppage?
Well, he may do that. I think he will, because he'll want to make sure that they get into a pretty good offensive set. And if not, again, he's going to want to touch that paint.
And a foul called. A foul called on Quinn Cook on the reach-in.
But Buzz Williams definitely wanted the timeout. You can see him asking for it.
That's the last foul to give for Duke. That's their 6th.
Jalen Hudson, 23 in gray, has been the hot guy for Virginia Tech. Let's see if they get him a touch here.
And Buzz Williams takes the clock down to 10.2 and spends a timeout.
Bob, that's actually an area where I'd like to see the NBA rule implemented. After a missed basket, to be able to advance the basketball, I think it'll make the games a little bit more exciting in the end.
So a chance for Virginia Tech to win it with this final possession. All right, you're Buzz Williams. What do you draw up?
Buzz Williams, again, mindset is to touch the paint, so he's going to try to run either some ball screen action or straight drive action after the weave, looking to get all the way to the rim or looking for the kick. I expect Jalen Hudson, who's so good off the bounce and can elevate over the top, to handle the basketball once they get it under about 5 seconds.
How does Mike Krzyzewski defend the paint, knowing that, as you said, with Buzz Williams and his history, that's where he wants the ball to go?
With Jahlil Okafor on the floor with essentially 4 guards, they can switch all of that action. And when you do that, it takes away gaps to be able to penetrate. And so now you're forced the Hokies to at least take a contested 2-point shot. So I would switch all that action with the exception of a high ball screen, because you don't want Satchel Pierce rolling down at 7 feet tall with one of your small guards underneath. And now he's taken Jahlil Okafor off the floor and has put Emil Jefferson into the game. Now you can switch 1 through 5. Smart move by Coach K.
The Hokies have 4 players in double figures, led by Jalen Hudson and his 21. It'll be Adam Smith to throw it in.
Devin Wilson's going to drive and try to kick. Yeah, they're going to Hudson here.
Here goes Hudson to work, leans in, a little too strong. The tip follow won't go. It's loose, ends up with Tyus Jones, throws it the length of the court, and we are going to overtime here at the Cassell. They got it to their hottest player. He got to the rim. He just couldn't finish. And we've got 5 new minutes to play when we come back to the Cassell after we check in with Chris Cobb.
All right, Bob, more overtime with you guys out there at Blacksburg. This is what's coming up next. It's going to start on E3. Yes, that's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Walton, along with Dave Pasch. They've got to call UCLA and Washington. Man, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch that game. And UCLA, of course, on the bubble, so they need to get a W there before we send it back out for overtime in Blacksburg. How has Duke gotten themselves into this position?
Well, Duke doesn't guard, and Duke has allowed, whether it's been man-to-man or whether it's been zone, they've allowed Virginia Tech to get much better shots than Virginia Tech deserves. So credit Virginia Tech for knocking in the shots. Most threes Duke's given up all year. But I'll tell you this, Duke does not guard, and that is going to hurt them. They have quickness on the perimeter, a big guy underneath that can block shots, but they don't guard.
All right, let's send it back out to Bob Wischusen and LaFonso Wells for overtime in Blacksburg, Duke and Virginia Tech, guys.
All right, Chris, it's been an incredibly fun night of college basketball here on ESPN2. First game of the night goes to double overtime, a little city civil war between Richmond, and now we get an ACC matchup between Duke and Virginia Tech that goes to overtime as well.
Yeah, Jalen Hudson is the guy that you want to have the basketball in his hands, because Dan Dockich is exactly correct. Duke does not defend off the dribble drive very well. It's been an Achilles heel for them all year long. Buzz Williams drew up the perfect play to get it into the hands of his best scorer. Jalen Hudson has been outstanding tonight.
Now, Joe Lunardi will be in studio all this week. It is Bracket Builder Week on ESPN. So you'll hear him on SportsCenter. You'll hear him in and around all of our games this week. The impact that this week's games have as we head towards Selection Sunday. And we heard from him earlier this half, but it bears repeating that if Duke were to lose this game tonight, they would drop off the 1 line and would be replaced by Villanova, at least as things stand now, according to Joe Lunardi. Right now, 2 teams in the ACC in Joe Lunardi's bracketology have 1 seeds, but it would be down to 1 if Duke lost tonight here at Virginia Tech.
Without a doubt, and Villanova, as we compare the 2 teams, is definitely a better defensive team than Duke, but Villanova doesn't have an Okafor.
Duke is #1 in America in the road neutral RPI. Their wins, the quality of their wins over Wisconsin, Virginia, and Louisville, all on the road. They have been the best team in America in terms of quality wins away from home. But this is a 2-win team in the ACC that has taken them to overtime in Virginia Tech.
Yeah, and Duke back in that 3-2 zone, concerned about the dribble penetration. They're going to have to watch the 3 ball if Virginia Tech can get in the gap.
Smith,
that's a
long range with the shot clock winding down. And a good job by Justice Winslow to control the rebound.
Okafor has to get some touches here, and Justice Winslow has a mismatch in the post anytime that Duke wants to exploit it.
Okafor goes at Pierce with the left hand, scores inside.
But we had a rule in the NBA. When a guy crab dribbled you that hard, the second one, the guards need to come down and take away that dribble. Virginia Tech can ill afford to have Okafor continually bullying their guys down in the post.
A three goes down from the corner for Ahmed Hill. His third made three.
In overtime, the formula has not changed for Virginia Tech. Dribble penetration and the kick for threes.
Okafor fouled by Satchel Pierce. The crowd doesn't like it, but that might not be the worst result for Virginia Tech.
Ball reversal, the low forward, a nice little screen in by Satchel Pierce created a wide open three-point shot. Ahmed Hill shooting 37% from three on the year, drills it from the corner. But Bob, I do think that's something that we're going to have to examine is post players are defenseless down there without having to use a bar arm or a bent elbow to be able to try to defend yourself when you're playing against such massive guys in the post. I'd like to see the NCAA go to the NBA rule where you can use either a bent arm or a bar arm to try to defend yourself. Otherwise, when those guys are backing you down, there's nothing you can do to defend yourself.
And this time, Okafor steps up and hits a pair. Duke back on top by a point. 30 in the game for Okafor.
How about that? Sprained ankle, not sure if you're going to play. Only comes out and gets 30.
Not bad for a game-time decision.
Stay with the formula. Dribble penetration. Get to the gaps. Try to get to the rim. Draw an additional defender. Kick it.
Shot clock to 7. Devin Wilson drives and draws the foul. It's a hard foul given by Winslow. That's his fourth.
And this is what Dan Dockich was talking about when we went to studio. Look at the open alley that Devin Wilson, number 11 in gray, has to go down. And when you give up a straight line drive that way, it doesn't allow your help defense to be able to get over because it's too long of a run. It's too quick. You don't have any reaction time. Look at this. He gets all the way to the smile before he's engaged by the secondary defender. Virginia Tech should continue to do it.
Wilson misses the first, still has a chance to tie. Adam Smith and Satchel Pierce both have 4 fouls for Virginia Tech. And now Justice Winslow has 4 for Duke. Those are the players in foul trouble here in overtime. Missing 2 at the line is Wilson, a 72% free throw shooter. 2 big misses for Virginia Tech.
Flawless till then. Working on, he has a double-double tonight, 10 points and 10 assists.
Okafor goes at Pierce, puts it up, and that will foul out Pierce. Okafor will go to the line to shoot a pair, and that's the 5th foul on Satchel Pierce.
Okafor is so smart, so intelligent. He knows where that double team is coming from. He's already made up his mind that he's going to attack that baseline area. He's done that with consistency in the second half of the game and in this overtime.
And now Virginia Tech has a big problem, literally and figuratively. Because Satchel Pierce at 7 feet, 255 pounds, he is the only player that they have that in any way, shape, or form's got the body to be physical with Jahlil Okafor. Once you get past Pierce, it's basically a bunch of 6'5" to 6'7" small forwards that Buzz Williams plays out of position because that's all he's got.
Yeah, the only option they have is 6'7" Christian Beyer, who I would expect to come back into the game 22 in gray. And he's going to have his hands full with Jahlil Okafor.
Christian Beyer is a former walk-on who earned a scholarship at the beginning of this semester, his senior year. And a miss at the line for Okafor. By the way, one other note on Beyer to endear him to Duke fans. He's going to medical school at North Carolina.
How about that? I can't even spell medical school.
This time 2 misses for Okafor, and there's Beyer with the rebound. So a chance for Virginia Tech to take the lead as both teams miss free throws. Jalen Hudson comes up short. Loose ball. controlled by the Blue Devils. Here comes Tyus Jones. Nice hustle by Quinn Cook.
I like what Virginia Tech was trying to do, get it to Jalen Hudson, but it's hard to do when you don't move it from one side to the other. The defense of Duke never moved, and that's why he couldn't get a good angle to get to the rim. Got to get ball reversals against Duke.
Okafor steps out.
There's that mismatch.
Throws it inside to Winslow. Easy two as he sealed Ahmed Hill underneath.
Sometimes partner basketball is simple. You find the mismatch on the floor and you exploit it. Duke doing an exceptional job in that area here in overtime.
Perfectly executed by the Blue Devils. And now a timeout called. One of the two that Buzz Williams has remaining. He spins here with 1:37 to go. How about the execution by Duke at the other end?
And see, with Satchel Pierce out, Jahlil Okafor can see right over the top of the defender. And when you can make a straight line pass there, put so much pressure on your defense. Justice Winslow doing a beautiful job of sealing.
We'll step aside for 30 seconds and come right back to Blacksburg. Duke with a 3-point lead. Both teams out of fouls to give, so we shoot free throws the rest of the way in overtime. Each team with a timeout left, and Duke still has the arrow. Bob Wischusen, LaFonso Ellis, watching a game that's been far more entertaining and far more competitive than we ever believed it would be. Virginia Tech is 2-12 in the ACC, largely non-competitive over the last stretch of conference play. They've got number 4 here at home, and they have made 12 threes. And now they're down by 3.
Yeah, we said for them to have any chance of winning this game, they had to make 10 threes or more, and they put themselves in perfect position. But it's been Duke's ability to take advantage of mismatches inside with Okafor or with Justice Winslow, which has been the difference here in overtime.
This is the top of the league against the bottom of the league. And Duke right now, according to Joe Lenardi and our bracketology, is a 1 seed. But that will not last at all if they drop this game here at the Cassell. For that to happen, you have to think at some point Virginia Tech's going to have to hit another deep one. They're down by 3, multiple possession game left, but as you talked about earlier with Buzz Williams and what he might be drawing up in that Tech huddle, he likes to get the ball to the paint, but that does not preclude them from shooting a 3.
Correct. And the issue is he wants 3-point shots coming off dribble penetration. And that's all what paint touches are about for Buzz Williams, especially with this group who doesn't have a consistent interior presence. And without Satchel Pierce in the 7-footer, 21 in gray, they're going to have a tough time matching up now on the defensive end now, because Duke will be able to get anything that they want inside.
Washington, UCLA, that game is underway. You can see that game right now over on ESPN3. And we'll be heading out west as soon as we're done here at Virginia Tech. Jalen Hudson sends it back outside. A good closeout by Quinn Cook right in the face of Adam Smith.
They tried a little drive and a little run behind. Duke did a nice job of taking it away.
Hudson goes at Winslow and draws the foul. Jalen Hudson's only a 59% free throw shooter, but he has a chance to make it a 1-point game.
But that's what
that will foul out Justice Winslow.
And that's big for Duke, because Justice Winslow is one of those guys who 1 through 4, he can guard those guys out on the floor. And so now you have to make the decision, do you come back with Okafor? So Okafor is great on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, he's not great at guarding ball screens. And so Virginia Tech should look for opportunities to get him out on the floor in space and use that guy to drive to the basket. Hey, Bob, confession. Just want to let you know, man, when we were with the producer coming over here this afternoon, I said it was going to be a 2-point game at halftime. I'm just saying.
That's your confession?
Yeah.
It's a strong pat of yourself on the back in the confessional.
Can I do 2 hands?
Hudson, again, only 59% free throw shooter, knocks down the first. He has had a career night.
And you have to wonder, back in my day as a freshman, I wanted to prove that I belong with the other elite freshmen around the country, and he certainly brought that kind of attitude tonight. He has been outstanding.
Only the 5th game this season that Jalen Hudson has been in double figures. He's got 23 to lead Virginia Tech.
The 1, 2, 2, 3-quarter court press here just to contain back into a 1-2-2. They're going to have to be careful because Jahlil Okafor is on that weak side.
Cook from the corner. He's got a three. A huge shot for Quinn Cook. And it's a 4-point lead.
Jahlil Okafor screen in, created that open opportunity from three.
Hudson behind the back. Okafor controls the miss. Duke's got it, up 4, 44 seconds to go.
Thought they missed an opportunity to foul. That's the guy you wanted to foul, Jahlil Okafor, not Tyus Jones, just too good of a free throw shooter.
And Duke perfectly executes ball control into the front court to beat the pressure. And now Quinn Cook, who shoots 89% at the line, is fouled.
Folks, watch as this basketball is coming around the horn here. Down at the bottom of the screen, Jahlil Okafor screened in and sealed, which created a long run to try to get to the corner. Watch the long run here. Quinn Cook, when he gets his feet set and shows squared, he knocks down that three ball. He's been enormous tonight for the Blue Devils.
Misses at the free throw line. An 89% free throw shooter. Leaves a point on the floor for Duke with 32.6 seconds to go.
And so, Bob, you've seen two of my concerns about Duke in NCAA play. Their inability to contain dribble drive, as Dan Dockett's talked about during our break, and the inability to consistently knock down free throws will hurt in low possession games that present themselves in the NCAA tournament.
Adam Smith for three. The long rebound with Emil Jefferson, and he's fouled. And with Okafor on the bench, a smart move by Mike Krzyzewski, late game situation, so that Virginia Tech can't play quote-unquote hack-a-shack with Okafor. It'll be Jefferson to go to the line, although he's not any better than Okafor as a free throw shooter at only 56%.
What he was playing is on the defensive end, knowing that Jefferson could switch 1 through 5 to keep guys in front was the strategy.
10 team fouls on Virginia Tech, so this is the double bonus.
And so this is where I get a little bit squeamish when we have that little discussion about should Duke be on the top line or should that be Villanova, because Villanova is strong in the two areas that Duke is weakest: free throw shooting and containing the dribble drive.
Adam Smith fouled by Cook. That's not what Mike Krzyzewski wanted. As Adam Smith will go to the free throw line, a chance to score points for Virginia Tech with the clock stop.
If I'm Buzz Williams, I'm setting up my pressure to force Emil Jefferson to have to catch the basketball to try to put him on the line, because the other four guys out there on the floor are pretty good from the line.
Smith's first trip to the line. It's a 1-and-1. That was team foul number 9 on Duke. Okafor back in, replacing Emil Jefferson.
Bob, even though it looks like the Virginia Tech Hokies are going to go down tonight, you got to respect and love the scrap and the fight that they brought to the table. And they've had that really all year long. Buzz Williams, he's done a terrific job with these young men and 4 freshmen out there in the rotation. A little too much Okafor tonight. He was spectacular.
Quinn Cook fouled immediately. Quinn Cook and Tyus Jones both shoot near 90% at the line.
Yeah.
So Duke has 2 terrific ball handlers who in late game situations are very comfortable doing just this, going to the free throw line.
And what an asset to have, because now you have 2 essentially point guards on the floor who can handle the rock. And so if you take away one, the other one's most likely going to be open. That's a great point. I think one of the things that Virginia Tech is frustrated with is they were wondering if the officials anticipated that there was going to be a foul there and blew the whistle too early.
Mike Eads was over at the table just double checking the clock, and they're going to take the clock, it looks like, from 15.4 up to 15.8.
This is a really good group of officials that we have here tonight. Wow. Big names on the floor tonight.
Ryan O'Connell and Jamie Luckey out there with Mike Eads.
Yeah.
It's the double bonus again with Washington and UCLA on deck. And Cook knocks down the first to make it a 5-point lead.
His leadership in every way has been extraordinary this year. You know, people were wondering, was there going to be some kind of infighting between he and Tyus Jones, and that has certainly not been the case. Cook has been able to play off the ball, which has really helped this offense, and his ability to knock down the three ball has been impactful for the Blue Devils.
Adam Smith hit the backboard first. Leaning in and drawing a foul is Ahmed Hill.
And that's a mark of a Buzz Williams coach team. Continue to scrap and fight until there's no more time left on that clock.
Emil Jefferson was called for the foul, so Mike Krzyzewski wants to put Jahlil Okafor right back in the game. If the score holds, to me, kudos to both teams. Duke for surviving another tough test on the road. But how about the effort for Virginia Tech as a 2-win team in the ACC to force overtime against the #4 team in America?
Yeah, incredible what they've been able to accomplish tonight, going toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the country. And how about Jahlil Okafor? Kudos to him. The kid could barely even walk even yesterday coming in. We weren't even sure if he was going to be able to play until about 15 to 30 minutes before the game, and he comes out with a career-high 30 tonight.
We've got another problem over at the scorer's table.
No time for that one out.
So Jamie Luckey apparently had to nullify one of the Duke substitutions. He sends Matt Jones back to the bench.
Right here, almost not too much more than 20 feet from Jahlil Okafor. That is a big dude. Wow.
They had Quinn Cook trapped in the corner. You have to give the immediate foul. Down by 4. With about 2 seconds coming off the clock, it almost seemed as if Virginia Tech was disappointed that they didn't allow the trap and that the foul was called. But if he holds onto the ball for 4 or 5 seconds down there, the game's over.
I agree.
You have to give the foul no matter how good of a free throw shooter Quinn Cook is.
Yeah.
Just keeps on knocking him down.
And that last possession was exactly what you were talking about. Is they had Quinn Cook and Tyus Jones out there, and both of those guys quickly sprinted to the ball. Who do you foul? And that's a luxury to have.
Jahlil Okafor was questionable with a sprained ankle, suffered against North Carolina, sat out against Clemson, was a game-time decision. We saw in warm-ups he would play, but I'm not sure we expected he'd be this good.
Yeah, Coach K changed his offense to go through him this year, and through him tonight they did. And Jahlil Okafor was magnificent in every way, patient on the post. When the double team didn't come, he went quickly to the rim, created some lob opportunities for him to take advantage of his size, and he was just an absolute bull when he caught the basketball on the low post. Kudos to that young man for fighting through and learning how to play at an elite level with an injury.
13 of 18 from the floor, 30 points, shooting 66% this season, #1 in the ACC and #2 in America. And right now you probably have to say it's a 2-horse race with he and Frank Kaminsky for National Player of the Year.
Yeah, we've been talking a little bit about D'Angelo Russell, but with the way that he's playing and the level that he's playing with, I'm almost thinking that Jahlil has sealed the deal. He is the best player in America.
Well, he helped Duke seal the deal late in overtime. Duke survives against Virginia Tech, and at least for now, it looks like they will stay on Joe Lunardi's one line. As our bracketologist said that if they had lost this game to Virginia Tech, they would be displaced by Villanova, but they found a way to win it. Coming up next, we'll go to the Pac-12. Washington and UCLA underway. For LaFonso Ellis, I'm Bob Wischusen. So long from Blacksburg.